Give it a go. It's tremendous amounts of fun, and yeah, come and see us. We'd love to see it.
It's a totally unique experience that you can do here on the greensward in Clacton, courtesy of BBC Essex. Matt's here with Ian, and we've got Noah. Noah's here as well. There's three of them here. Will guide you through how to be a weather presenter on the telly. Come and have a go. Something to show off about when you get home.
Thanks, Steve. So there we are, a chance to have a go in 2024 at presenting a TV weather forecast. Now, we've been talking a lot about D-Day.
Services of the BBC and through United Nations Radio Mediterranean. And this is John Snagg speaking. Supreme Headquarters, Allied Expeditionary Force, have just issued communique number 1, and in a few seconds I will read it to you. Under the command of General Eisenhower, Allied naval forces, supported by strong air forces, began landing Allied armies this morning on the northern coast of France.
So there we are, an extract from D-Day 80 years ago this year. Welcome along to Clacton Air Show. What a wonderful sight that was. And as we look to our right, we have not one, not two, we have 3 aircraft. We have a Vampire flanked by 2 Strike Masters. This is going to be pretty awesome. We're upping the tempo somewhat, Sam. What about that?
Taking us to the Cold War jet age now, fast forwarding in history, for a bit of a high energy display. This really is something special. You're about to be entertained.
A Vampire and 2 Strike Master. We'll get to see the Vampire on her own, and also the Strike Master pair will do a routine as well together, but just savour the view as we see all 3 aircraft together. One, of course, the Vampire, looking so distinctive with that double fin, that double piece towards the rear of the aircraft. The Strike Masters, one either side, almost protecting the Vampire as they sweep over now from Clacton Pier. They're coming right towards us, so if you've got your camera or your phone on the seafront, get it quickly, because here they come. Smoke on. What a view. A low pass, dipping in formation. You see the undercarriage of all 3 aircraft with the sun just glinting on their wings as they bank round over out to sea.
High in the distance, just to remember that during the Cold War these aircraft were used in sort of stealth mode as well as in attack mode, almost silently creeping in the skies. We've got the 2 Strike Masters there. We've got over 3,500 pounds of thrust behind them, and then in the middle we have the beautiful Vampire. centre of Clacton Beach, just slowly flying, it looks like a barrel roll, punching out towards the pier. Top speed, the Strike Master around 350 knots.
Display on the greensward, including the cast of Spring Awakening. Please can you say hi to the cast of Spring Awakening, who are performing their second to last show tonight. They're here enjoying the planes till they take to the stage later, says Steve. You'll have to tell me which theatre, whereabouts that's happening, Steve, and then we'll give you a proper plug for the show. And can you please say hi to my amazing partner, Faye? You are absolutely brilliant, and I can't wait to spend the rest of our lives with each other. Love from Aaron.
Flying towards the centre of the beach now, you can see the 3 aircraft flying one beside the other as the 2 break away. Lights are on, smoke is trailing, and in those 2 Strike Masters we've got a smoke system that holds 2 100-litre tanks of smoke carried on the inboard wing pylons.
That was fabulous, seeing the Strike Masters split away, one left, one right. The Vampire went left, almost chasing on the tails of the Strike Master. We will get to see more of each of these aircraft in a little more detail, but that was just stunning. And again, very experienced pilots and very experienced aircraft. The Vampire is a film star. Yes, this Vampire was seen alongside John Travolta in the movie adaptation of the Frederick Forsyth novel, The Shepherd, that came out last year. They filmed it in Norfolk in 2022. If you've seen the film, you'll see how prominent the Vampire is in that film. So we have a film star amongst us. Another one.
The de Havilland Vampire DH-100 spiralling high in the sky above Clacton Beach, flown for us this afternoon by the Norwegian Air Force Historic Squadron, who preserve these ex-military aircraft in an airworthy condition and display them in their important role to educate on how these historic aircraft played a role in aviation. They preserve, maintain and operate these aircraft and work very hard to keep them flying, and we hope for many years to come. The de Havilland Vampire was a British jet fighter commissioned by the Royal Air Force during the Second World War. It followed the Gloucester Meteor, and it was the second jet fighter to enter service with the RAF. Although it arrived too late to see combat during the war, the Vampire served with frontline RAF squadrons until 1953 and was continually used as a trainer until 1966. The Vampire also served with many air forces worldwide, setting many aviation firsts, and became the first RAF fighter with a top speed exceeding 500 miles an hour. Almost 3,300 Vampires were built, a quarter of them under license in other countries, and Vampire design was also developed into the de Havilland Venom fighter bomber and later on as a Naval Sea Vampire variant. Not just a movie star, it was the first carrier landing and takeoff of a jet aircraft was performed by a Vampire by test pilot Eric Winklebrown in 1945 when he landed and took off again from HMS Ocean. Then in June 1946, on the 8th of June, the Vampire was introduced to the British public for the first time when Fighter Command's 247 Squadron were given the honour of leading the flypast over London for Victory Day celebration. Vampire is the de Havilland Vampire FB2. It was an export version of the Mark VI. 101 were built, 36 exported to Norway, and in use from 1949 to 1957. This aircraft is marked PXK and was under license and built in Switzerland in 1952. She flew with the Swiss Air Force all the way up till 1990 and was then moved on to Sweden to the Riga Air Base near Oslo in southern Norway. And as I said before, the aircraft is now flown by the Royal Norwegian Air Force, and she still has those markings as Vampire PXK, serving with 336 Squadron back in the 1950s. She was Norway's first pure jet fighter squadron.
Let's say hi to Kenneth Ark-Wiesler, our Vampire pilot, this afternoon. A very experienced pilot, 15,000 odd hours is his logbook. His interest for flying started very early on. At age 15, he flew solo in a glider. He was active in gliding competitions, aerobatics and instructing, and he's logged 800 hours on gliders alone. Kenneth joined the military in 1981, where he became a pilot. He accumulated 1,500 flight hours. He also trained as a forward air controller, directing and guiding aircraft to find ground targets. Now flies with the Scandinavian Airlines. He's been a captain on Boeing 737 since 1998. He's the initiator and founder of the Norwegian Air Force Historical Squadron. His huge passion for these aircraft and these classic jets, he absolutely loves it. He's been displaying Vampires for about 15 years now. So he's got many hours of flying on this type of aircraft too. But he's passionate for all kinds of aerobatics really, and used to fly a Yak 52 before moving on to the Vampire. Thank you, Kenneth, for being with us today and bringing all your experience and this beautiful display.
Vampire flying almost silently now towards the pier. Hard to believe that it's powered by a de Havilland Goblin 3 centrifugal turbojet engine with 3,350 pounds of thrust behind it. A maximum speed of 548 miles per hour. Get your cameras ready, looking towards the pier. Here Kenneth comes in the Vampire, banking his wings at us, flying on an angle to show the beautiful design of the aircraft with that just such a distinctive design.
And off the Vampire goes into the sun around the coast to our right. Thank you to Ben for dropping me an email, wyatt@bbc.co.uk. Can you give a shout out with each other now? Smoke trailing as they head down. They came in the opposite direction to the Vampire, so they headed up towards the pier, banking high up into the sky now, just curving round gracefully in formation, looking absolutely stunning. You wouldn't believe the age of these from this distance, would you?
It's incredible to watch. These two jets in close formation, aerobatics. You're going to see lots of loops and barrel rolls and wing overs and opposition passes with the smoke trailing. Led this afternoon by Ian Bertie Brett. He's flown the Strike Master for around 5 years now. Last year was his first year displaying in the Strike Master. He was previously 13 years on the Tornado and then an instructor at RAF Marham. He also has instructed on the RAF Tutor, and he was display manager for the Tutor team in 2017 before he moved on to Form Hunter. He's also been flying with Team Raven that we've seen here at Clacton many years. And he says when talking about Clacton, the Strike Master, it's such a lot of fun to fly. It's very simple, it's very straightforward to fly with basic classic instrumentation, with big round dials and a bit like kind of unlike the TV screens you see on the modern jets today. But he said it's fast, it's nice, it's graceful in the aerobatic manoeuvres. Masters peeling off one from the other and punching out towards the wind farm. Very graceful. Bertie leading the display this afternoon. He absolutely loves displaying at Clacton. He said it's a shame not to be able to land the jets nearby and come and enjoy the beach. But he said it's a lovely view from up there looking down at the coast, especially on days like today when the sun is shining. He said he likes displaying from the east coast. He said it gives a different perspective from some of the other shows, and it always makes for great photography with the sun glinting off the aircraft. They flew over from North Weald this afternoon. Bertie and his co-pilot enjoy flying across the beautiful landscape on their way to Clacton.
So Bertie in the lead. Behind Bertie is pilot Sean Chittenden, MBE. Sean joined the RAF from school in '83, having achieved his wings on the Hawk, the aircraft that the Red Arrows use, of course. Qualified as an instructor on the Jet Provost. He became the RAF's youngest display pilot in 1987, before completing operational tours on the Jaguar at Cottleshall and Lossiemouth. In between, Sean was selected to join the Red Arrows, his final year being as leader of the Synchro pair. The headquarters ground job was followed by Sean's final RAF posting as the officer commanding Central Flying School exam wing. And in that role, Sean flew many types of aircraft as an instructor and examiner with air forces around the world. In the Airbus A320 as a captain and trainer. He's amassed over 17,000 hours on more than 80 aircraft types.
Aircraft crowd centre now, breaking away one from the other. You'll notice with this display that they'll go from slow manoeuvres, easily followed by large vertical manoeuvres. The design of the display is to really show off the jet's manoeuvrability and high performance as a straight wing aircraft. The noise you can hear is that Strike Master engine producing 3,500 pounds of thrust. Really quite a noticeable noise impact echoing around the skies.
If you fancy learning to fly, I know there's a guy called Jason who loved every air show as a lad growing up, and he and his mum came to every air show. They still do. As a result, he got a little job at Clacton Aero Club. He can fly a plane now and even owns a plane. So it's a good place to start. And I can hear the sound of the Bronco and now can see her as she arrives directly in front of us, Sam, on the BBC Essex commentary point.
The North American Rockwell OC Bronco, flown to us all the way from Belgium, flown this afternoon by Tony de Bruyn. This is just such an incredible aircraft to watch, known for its STOL capabilities, its short takeoff and landing. It's designed by 2 US Marines in a garage in 1964, and it was designed as a forward advanced aircraft, which then saw service in Vietnam and the Philippines.
But I'm not to fly my kite on. Do you wanna flash a light on?
banking round to the centre of the beach, you'll be able to see her fly climbing up high. You'll notice a distinctive shape there, not dissimilar to the Vampire. You've got the twin booms with the balancing strut across the middle. The design is basically to assist the aircraft in short takeoff and landings. As I said, it was designed as a forward advance aircraft to land on roads and jungles, operated in Vietnam and the Philippines. Until about a year ago, Broncos were still flying in the Philippines. Now, a slow pass by the looks of it, hovering just above the sea here in front of us here on Clacton Beach. The Bronco can loiter for up to 3 hours and up to speeds of 350 miles per hour. The Bronco served in 3 US branches from 1965 right up to 1995, the Air Force, the Marines and the Navy. And the original concept was called for the Bronco to also be amphibious. It's got a huge amount of cargo space. It can hold 2,400 pounds of cargo, or 6 paratroopers, or 2 stretchers and a medic. Placed orders for the new Broncos when they first were released in the 1960s, including Germany, Thailand, Venezuela and Indonesia. Resistant windshields and self-sealing fuel cells, and that's to allow it to operate in hostile environments. What would happen is the Broncos would fly through the jungles as a forward advance aircraft, and they would go and scout out the fighter aircraft and where they would need to attack. In modern day, the Bronco is actually still flown in the Los Angeles Fire Department. They have 15 Broncos. Tony pulling up there, just way up high above us on the beach, showing the distinctive markings of the aircraft in dark camo green and orange. She still carries her German markings because the Bronco was based at their home base in Wildenheim in Belgium, right next to Flanders Fields.
Their horns were black and shiny and their hot breath he could feel. A bolt of fear went through them as they thundered through the sky. Boy, saw the riders coming hard, and he heard their mournful cry. Yippee-yi-yay.
So banking past us on the beach, just twirling the wings at us, going from high-speed passes to low-speed 90-degree pass there. This is to demonstrate the aircraft's excellent capability for manoeuvring. It's got a really short turn radius and a very impressive roll rate.
It's also swift. He's fighting hard to catch that herd, but he ain't caught him yet. 'Cause they've got to ride forever on that range up in the sky. Of course, it's Lord of fire. As they ride on, hear their cry.
Now, the manoeuvrability of the aircraft with that excellent roll rate and the kind of bucking manoeuvres you see is why it gets the nickname the Bucking Bronco. Tony loves to fly this aircraft because of its manoeuvrability, and he likes to show it off in the display as he's showing us there with a huge wing waggle. It's fully aerobatic, it has great visibility. He has a canopy which is a ginormous glass dome, and he said as a pilot you really feel like you're flying on top of the world.
Riders in the sky.
listening to Radio Air Show from BBC Essex, live from Clacton. A shout out now for Louise Latache. Thank you for being the best neighbour and coming to Clacton Air Show. That's from Ellie. Sounds good to me. And I've got a very interesting email to bring you now. Could I get a shout out to ask Sanchia if she'll marry me, please? My name is Dan. She's the sweetest, most perfect person I've ever met, and I'd very much like to marry her. This is from Dan. So, I mean, I need an update on this. We need to know what's going on here. Sanchia, is it yes for Dan? Tell me. Wyatt at bbc.co.uk. How lovely. And if it is, we'll tell Tony he'll be delighted that his display has accompanied a marriage proposal here at Clacton.
That was a fantastic moment, Ian, as the proposal went on air. Tony took his steep dive in the key sand style approach, ready for his short takeoff and landing at Clacton Airfield. What a fantastic display, a highly capable aircraft. Super exciting, but not as exciting as the marriage proposal.
Also